From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Yep.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you, and welcome to the Tuesday, August 8th, 2017 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We're going to begin today's meeting with the flag salute, and this is going to be led by a trio of Boy Scouts. We have Tyler Glenn, Bronson Tobin, and Ethan Grubbs from Boy Scout Troop 442. So if you fellas could come on up, and then I'd ask that everybody remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, fellas. Great job. Nice to have you here. All right. If you'd like to follow along with our agenda this morning, they are available at the two tables near the exit. So we're going to begin today's meeting with the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to the vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So I will read those consent agenda items now. Starting on page 2, items 3 through 5, as well as item 8 are on consent. On page 3, all items 9 through 15 are on consent. On page 4, all items 16 through 25 are on consent. On page 5, all items 26 through 33 are on consent. However, item 28 has been withdrawn by staff. And on page 6, items 34 through 41 are on consent. On page 7, all items 42 through 49 are on consent. Page 8, all items 50 through 57 are on consent. And finally, on page 9, items 58 and 59 are on consent. Are there any members of the audience who would like to speak to anything on the consent agenda? Mr. Fox, please come forward. Tell me which item. Come on up to the mic.
39.
Okay, come on up to the mic. I'm sorry, you said 29?
39.
39, okay. Item 39. What's your comment, please?
Hi, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Dennis Fox, and it has to do with fire prevention.
Raise the mic a little bit, Mr. Fox.
Raise it up, how's that? A little
That's
better?
perfect.
Okay. And I brought 2 items for show and tell today.
I have them here.
And one of them has a letter, and one of them has the an ad that I received. And it's for explosive shells. And people, they seem like they're fun, but they're not really the things we need to be shooting off in the woods. And that is explosive shotgun shells and flares and stuff. They note that some of these things are banned in California, some of the things are banned in various counties, but then some of them, I guess, they just let slide. So they need to be notified. I think the state should be notified, or CSAC, the Rural Counties Association. The other thing I brought to you is a kind of a gimmick Mr. Chairman has, is a bullet. And the state has banned lead bullets. And this looks like a lead bullet, but there's a little magnet on it. It's my kitchen refrigerator magnet, and it shows it's steel. And these are perfectly legal. They're all over the place. They're very inexpensive. They're made in Russia. I call them Putin's projectiles. And being steel, when they hit a rock, you have an ignition source. And there are rocks out in the woods, and they have started fires, several forest fires, various forests have tried to ban them, and the state says, why, that's not really scientific when you went out and shot a rock. It wasn't to be scientific, it was just a demonstration. The town of Weaverville up in Trinity County had a range, and they had matches with these things, and they're so cheap. They hit a rock at the range and managed to burn up through the town. So whether you want to do a county-wide look at it, I really think it should be done on state, and you should bring it to the rural counties, give them something to do for a change, and maybe get the state involved and maybe our local legislators. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. So we'll provide these items that you have given to the board to the CAO's office, and we'll ask the CAO's office to refer these to the proper county departments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with comments on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board and ask if any board members would like to remove an item, or I'll request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion on consent.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now we'll return to page 2 on our agenda. Item number 1 under resolutions and proclamations. Item 1 is a resolution honoring Debbie Spears, Department of Human Services, upon her retirement with 34 years of dedicated service to the County of Kern, and Supervisor Gleason will make this presentation.
Motion on resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks a lot, Mr. Chairman. It's a great time when you get an opportunity to take some time out of your day to thank the people that have provided so much service and so much comfort for so many people in Kern County. And today we're getting to do that. And today we're honoring Miss Debbie Spears for her career, her life's work in Kern County, and we are so thrilled that she chose Kern County to do it and to be a part of our family and to extend our family and to make Kern County a better place to live and to work. And I have a resolution signed by our chairman that I'm proud to read, and then I'll pass it off to Dina so she can also take some time to thank Debbie for 34 years. Debbie began her career at the Department of Human Resources on April 11th, 1983. She was an eligibility supervisor, and she reclassified to Human Services Supervisor in 2001. She was assigned to the Staff Developmental Unit in '98 and was instrumental in coordinating training for Human Services technicians as well as conducting training for permanent employees. An active member of the National Eligibility Workers Association State Board for 8 years, and served as the president of the Kern County Chapter in 2003 and president of the National Eligibility Workers Association State Board in 2009. She was involved in numerous projects during her county career, including development and implementation of training programs, training coordinator for the CIV program, participation in the development of the department's integrated training program, and was the lead point for contact for UC Davis training programs, a leader consistent throughout her service in Kern County. Ms. Spears' dedication to staff development and commitment to serving the public has earned her the respect and admiration of both peers and colleagues alike. Her many contributions to the Department of Human Services will be greatly missed, and she is wished the best in her future endeavors. Now, therefore, it is resolved by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, hereby honoring and commending Debbie Spears upon her retirement with 34 years of dedicated service to Kern County, adopted August 8th, 2017. Debbie, congratulations. Thank you very much for all you've done for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's yours. So we're going to ask Ms. Murphy to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Good morning, Chairman Scrivener and members of the board. It's just such a pleasure to be here this morning and have the opportunity to honor Debbie. She is joined this morning by her mom, Pat, and her dad, Trent. They're behind me, which I think is just incredible. And at home, she has, she said, just a raucous home life with her rescue kitties. She calls them the rowdy boys, two big yellow kitty cats, and her Sophia that her little brothers joined us last fall. Debbie's a very lovable person, but what she's given to this department is really a labor of love. And you'll note as she moves forward in retirement, she absolutely plans on continuing to be a part of the National Eligibility Association. And what she brought to our department is that enhanced professionalism and really touched the lives of every single new eligibility technician coming through the door. So literally has trained thousands of people, and really in mind with providing quality service most efficiently and with that servant's heart, and always emphasizing to those that she trained how important it was to do it right and to be compassionate towards the vulnerable coming through the door. And I don't think that you could ask for any better example of county service than that. So we're very fortunate for all those that she touched. And part of the numbers outcome of that is the almost non-existent error rate for Kern County, one of the very few counties in the state that year after year are awarded for the time in which individuals are served, the quality of service, and the outcomes being almost error-free. And really, Debbie's at the root of that for her training and her ongoing mentoring of the staff. Excuse me. So Debbie's plans now are to travel and travel and bake. And she's an incredible baker. Her dad was one of the early staff with Smith's Bakery. So if you think she can't bake, several of us at the department have a weight problem because of her. But I know that she'll stay in touch with us and come back to help us whenever we need that, whether she's on board or not, because she's just that kind of person. If we have questions, she'll be available to us. But a lovely person who's starting on the next journey of her life, and we're very proud of her and so very grateful that we've had her with us for all these years, 34 years. Thank you. Debbie, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I just wanted to thank you for the resolution and the wonderful adventure that I've had for 34 years, and it has been fun. It was kind of bittersweet when I left, because it was like, there's more to be done, and there's more that can be contributed, but I need to let somebody else do that. Yeah. So, thank you very much.
Outstanding. Thank you. Debbie, don't go anywhere. Debbie, hold on, we'll get some pictures. We'll get some pictures.
Thank you.
That's an outstanding career. Thank you so much for your service. The next item on our agenda is item 2, and this is to proclaim August 1st through the 7th, 2017 as World Breastfeeding Week and the month of August as National Breastfeeding Awareness Month in Kern County, and Supervisor Perez will make this proclamation.
Motion on proclamation.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Hello. It's very good to see you. Boy, you guys have a group. Yeah. Hello. I know this one. I know Joe. It's been a while. Hello there. Good to see you. Hello. Come on forward. Okay, very, very cool. Well, welcome. And good morning, Chairman Scrivener and members of the board. I had a very recent experience with breastfeeding, as many of you know. It gave me a tremendous grace to do my job and incorporate breastfeeding into being a supervisor, which I think is pretty cool. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite moments in breastfeeding came when my 6-year-old son, Jude, approached me in my room, and I was pumping for Noah, who was in the NICU. And he said, "Mama, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm pumping some milk for the baby." And he was totally stunned by this idea. And he said, "There's milk in that?" And I said, "Yes." And he looked at me totally perplexed, like he didn't understand how I was so foolish. He said, "Mama, there's lots of milk in the fridge." He said, "If we go there, you open it and I'll pour it in for you." And he was so serious. And it was so sweet. He wanted to give me a break. And how wonderful it would be if we could just get it at Food Max, right? Today I have with me a whole team, as you see, and you'll hear from some of these folks: Kathy Lujan, Carmen Segovia, Catherine Campos, Ruth Bliss, Heath Lawson, Mitchell Patel, and others. And it really is a delight to make this proclamation this morning, presenting and recognizing breastfeeding awareness in the local, national, and international level by proclaiming World Breastfeeding Week and National Breastfeeding Awareness Month. Breastfeeding is a unique process that provides ideal nutrition for infants and contributes to their health, their healthy growth and development. The purpose of World Breastfeeding Week is to support women in their efforts to breastfeed both at home and in the workplace. We are well aware of the many health, psychological, and economic benefits breastfeeding has, and it's critical that women are empowered in claiming their right to breastfeed in the workplace, whether that be in formal, non-formal, or home setting. Breastfeeding is not just a woman's issue or the sole responsibility of the women. The protection, promotion, and support of breastfeeding is a collective responsibility shared by us all. Hats off to my chief of staff, who not only runs my office, but has a regular practice of preparing the best nutrition for her baby. Today, we support breastfeeding success with our partners in the community, including healthcare providers, community advocates, employers, and family members. I join my colleagues today to present this very important and heartfelt proclamation. You're really special. I have two. Oh. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed August 2017 as National Breastfeeding Awareness Month in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes and signed by our Honorable Chairman, Mr. Zach Scribner. So now the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Kathy Lujan, and I'm the program manager for CAP-K WIC, and I just want to thank you and the board for doing this proclamation for us today. I'm proud to work for CAP-K WIC and all the work we do to support and protect breastfeeding. And again, I'm very, very grateful for this proclamation. This year's theme is called Sustaining Breastfeeding Together. And again, it is a village. It takes all of us. It's not only a woman's responsibility to breastfeed, but it's all of our responsibilities to help her and to support her, and so that our children will thrive. We all know the nutrition and health benefits of breastfeeding, but we have to also understand that breast milk is natural, it's a renewable food, and it doesn't produce any pollution, packaging, or waste. So now is the time to have discussions about breastfeeding that go beyond health and nutrition. And it's time to start linking breastfeeding to human life and the well-being of our planet. So thank you again for your support.
Anybody else can speak?
Good morning. I want to thank you all for this amazing proclamation, especially thank you. I'm Catherine Campos. I'm the Regional Breastfeeding Liaison for CAP-K WIC. I'm also the co-chair of the Kern County Breastfeeding Coalition. As Kathy said, this year's theme is Sustaining Breastfeeding Together, and this theme has a dual meaning. On the one hand, we are sustaining breastfeeding so that mothers have the ability to do this in work and in school now. On the other hand, it is a renewable resource for babies. It's completely free, something that anybody can get on board with. It is a completely free thing to do. everyone has heard the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child, and Kern County is a very strong village, especially for breastfeeding. We have many resources, whether it's our baby-friendly designated hospitals that support breastfeeding from the minute the child is born, to our programs and nonprofits such as WIC, Baby Cafe, La Leche League, and Lily Lactation. The village helps support our breastfeeding mothers to sustain the breastfeeding relationship with their babies, whether it's a complex problem or something as simple as they want the peer support. We have that in many of our resources. In order for us to sustain breastfeeding together, it needs to become more normalized, accepted, and supported. And I believe that this proclamation is one of those steps to normalize breastfeeding in our community, which is something that's very important. We can't have mothers who feel scrutinized because they're breastfeeding their babies in public, or they can't be scrutinized at work or school for having to stop and pump for their baby. So I'm hoping that our community can band together and celebrate sustaining breastfeeding together this week and every week so that we can help bring a better life to our babies in Kern County. Thank you.
Let's get a picture. So we got two. Okay, very good. I'm not sure who else wants to come forward. Anybody want to come? Let's squish in here. Okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez, and everyone who was here today. Next item on our agenda will be public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. So now I'll ask if there are any members of the audience who would like to make a public presentation. I don't see any hands, and so we'll move on to board member announcements or reports. Do we have any announcements for any board members? Supervisor Gleason.
I would just like to provide brief comment to the Calgary fire last week up in the Kern River Valley and the outstanding job that our fire department did in coordination with other agencies. This was a fire that could very well have been disaster for more than it was the disaster for. It was heading to Kernville. It was hot, it was dry, and it was an impending disaster. And it was the brilliance of our fire department and the resources and the strategies, and they went up there with everything they had, loaded for bear, and just put that fire out in a remarkable way and controlled it, a disaster that could have been much more than it was. So my hat's off to the fire department. Chief, outstanding job for you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason, and thank you, Chief, and all your staff. You folks did do a marvelous job. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned it earlier, but I just wanted to thank Troop 442, right, and their leaders for being here today. And you guys did did really well in our meeting this morning, and you did a great flag salute. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other reports from members of the board? Okay, I have one. There is a meeting of the Standing Committee on Strategic Initiatives on Monday, August 14th, and there's an agenda item 4, that is to appoint 2 new members of the Standing Committee to replace existing members on the strategic initiatives. However, that needs to be changed to appointing 1 member. Supervisor Gleason has stepped down from the committee, and as chairman, I appointed myself to fill in for him in the remaining 2 meetings that they have, and then next year we'll have new committee assignments for all the members of the board. And so there will be 1 appointment that the committee will be making to replace Lauren Skidmore. So I just want to make that announcement, and that concludes our business for this morning's agenda. However, we do have several items to consider in closed session. First, under County Administrative Office, we have items 60, 61, and 62. And under County Council, we have 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn a closed session.
So moved.
We are adjourned.